Alright guys, here we are, 1998 Crown Vic with a V8 engine. I'm going to change the alternator today. It's not that hard to do. Right here is the alternator. Simple change out. Just take the belt off, undo the bracket, take off the connectors, take it out. It's not a big deal. Right down here is your tensioner. It's your tensioner, belt tensioner. So you just put your 1/2 inch ratchet in there. Take the tension off the belt by pushing down or turning clockwise. Pull the belt off of the pulley and we'll take it from there. But it's not that hard to do, and this will be short and quick. Okay, before you start any project, especially electrical, you want to disconnect your battery cables to make sure there's no power running to the electrical components that you're going to work on. Anyway, this also might be a good time for my next video, show you how to take care and maintain your battery, because obviously I need help. Alright, so here we go. Got it stuck in there as far as we can and push down. You see the tension come off the belt. Just pull the belt off the pulley and then slowly let up on the tension, and it's off. Now here's a helpful hint. Take a picture of how the serpentine belt, this belt, goes around all the pulleys so you can put it back on the right way. So I'm going to undo some bolts here and I'll be right back. Okay, so after we got the belt off the pulley, we're going to take the nut off of the wire connector right there, and that nut, for me anyway, happens to be a 10mm. So we'll take that off and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so now that we've got the wire removed from that right there, we're going to remove these two screws, mounting screws right here. Now for me, these mounting screws, I got it at 5/16. I know I'm kind of going back and forth between metric and standard, but it's what I have and what it fits, so yours may be different. The other thing is, you know, while you got the belt off, the main serpentine belt here, inspect it. Look for any cracks or worn parts or tears. And you know, you got it off, so you might as well replace it if it's worn. It's not that big of a job, so easier to do it now while you're changing the alternator out. So I'm going to undo these two brackets or bolts, and I will be back with you in a second. Okay, so we got those two nuts out, no problem. Here's a helpful hint for you. I always like to keep one of these magnetic parts holders. You know, it keeps it to where so you don't lose your screws and stuff. It sticks to the car pretty well, so you don't have to worry about losing parts and nuts and screws and washers. It's just a handy, helpful hint. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these screws right here, bolts, excuse me, that hold it to the block. And again, I'm going to be using going back and forth, using my 10mm. That doesn't focus very well, does it? Using my 10mm socket. And once we have those off, we should be able to pull the alternator right out of there. So I'm going to pause the video and take it on off. Okay, now that I got the front bolts out, as you can see, the bolts are gone. That alternator's loose in there. And one thing I neglected to tell you is there's a connection on the back, mainly because I didn't know about it. And it's a good thing I didn't pull on it too hard and break that connection. So just take that connection off. It's no big deal. Just put a screwdriver down in here and it pops right out. And then you have your cord to take to the parts place, so you don't have to pay a cord charge. Okay, so here we are. We're back from AutoZone with our new alternator. We found out that it is not 130 amp. It's 135 amp, so the Ford website was wrong. There was like a sticker right here that had told what amperage that we needed to get. And of course we had the old one, so we were able to match it up, both the mounts right here, the mounts on the top, this connector, as well as making sure that this connector was the same. So now we're just going to put it back into the car, the opposite of the way we took it out. Okay, so what I've done is I went ahead and threaded these screws in before I put the unit in. Since these are slots, it could slide right over the top. And then I went ahead and put these screws in. It's all loose still. And that's to hold it in position while I tighten up these two screws down, or bolts down here. And then we'll connect the rest of it up. Okay, after we've tightened these bolts up here, and a little word to the wise, you might want to connect this connector before you put it on, because even though you can do it, the bracket gets in the way. It's a lot easier to do it if you would have put it on before you tighten the bolts, but I live and learn. And so anyway, what you want to do is put some dielectric grease on these connectors and go ahead and connect that plug back in, and then reconnect this wire back onto there and put your belt back on. We'll show you that in a minute. Okay. Belts flying off. Started. Just the next thing I can do is a video on how to clean the battery.